Hello and welcome to the build-up in association with Ladbrokes. I'm your host David Gillick and I'm joined by Ladbrokes ambassador and former Ireland international Kevin Doyle. Kevin, how are you keeping?
I'm good, David. Yeah, enjoying the
You got
football this week.
you got the guns out today?
Yeah, the guns aren't what they used to be. I've had a haircut as well, so if you see any hair falling down, he hasn't really got rid of the clippings, so there's bits
You're
falling
looking
out
all
there.
right. Looking dapper, as they say.
Yeah,
So you're
cheers.
enjoying all the football, plenty of action going on. I suppose big talking point, the Champions League. You look at Man City, you look at Liverpool. Like are these two the best teams? Like I know we can look at the games, right? Okay, Real Madrid coming back and stuff like that, but they went 2-0 up, still in the commanding situation going into the second leg. Liverpool 2-0 up as well, going away to Villarreal. Two good teams. You reckon the two
Yeah,
of them are going to go through?
Liverpool will. City, I just worry about. For the last number of seasons at this stage, they should have wrapped up the other night. I know, listen, Real Madrid are very good. They've got a fabulous manager in Ancelotti, and it was something similar against Chelsea. I think Chelsea should have went through against Madrid, and they didn't. Madrid just managed to find a way. And against City the other night, it was so one-sided. It seemed watching the game. Yeah, they kept letting Madrid back into it. Silly mistakes. It was of their own doing. It wasn't even of Madrid's, you know, fabulous finishes and good play or whatever. But it was more to do with Man City just not killing them off. So I'd be worried if I was a Man City fan, be delighted if I was a Liverpool fan. Just Man City's history and all, it's just in the back of your head. And you can see the manager on the touchline as well. You can see how much it means to him. Even that first half when Madrid get that goal back and he's down on his knees, really, he's really feeling it. It looks like he's feeling the pressure. I can't remember who missed the chance for City in the first half as well. Mahrez.
Yeah,
And he was down on his knees as well. It would have been to go, I think, maybe to go 3-0 at the time.
2 up, yeah.
2-0 or 3-0 up, and the manager's down on his knees half an hour into the game, and just feel like it means so much to him, this Champions League, more so than any other competition.
Well, like, what do you put it down to? Is it nerves? Is it the fact that like they're putting the Champions League on such a pedestal and they're so close, and yet you could almost say they fell apart the other night?
Yeah, they still played really well with the ball. It was just without. Well, even with the ball, Madrid's goals, the first two goals came from the keeper dallying around with not the first goal, the first real good chance, and then their first goal, Madrid's goal. It was Man City's, poor clearance out, losing the ball, just too relaxed nearly. It seemed like not with enough urgency trying to get out from the back and let Madrid in. They played confident. They didn't look nervous. They played really confident. Actually, created loads of chances. Should have won the game, as I said, handily. I don't know. I don't think the players are taking it anymore. As putting it on a pedestal. I think the manager is more with how you see him on the touchline is more animated than you would see him in a Premier League game. In my opinion, maybe I'm looking
Yeah.
too much into that, but just to me anyway, he's down on his hands and his knees in the first half when it was to go 2 or 3-0 up. I can't remember, and you just think, right, you just expect him to be a bit more cool, calm, and collected.
Do you think like as a Sunderland fan, right? I remember the Canio doing the knee slide when Sunderland beat Newcastle in the derby up there,
Yeah.
and it always was one of these things. Like in your experience, like do you know what goes on the sideline? Can you see the manager? Can the players see Pep like just losing the rag? Like does
Yeah.
that resonate then to the players?
I don't know how it affects everyone differently. Me personally, I wouldn't like it. You always see cameras of a player missing a chance or whatever, and you see him glancing over to the bench always. And you don't need to see your manager with his head in his hands or turning around ranting at the bench or
Has that happened to you on a few occasions?
Yeah, it definitely happened on a few occasions to me. You look, yeah, listen, you just natural reaction. You look across who's your boss, who's the most important person, the manager, and if he's, I suppose, and it's just a passion. Guardiola's just passionate. He feels like he's playing the game, but it's hard for him to change that. But it definitely, I think, the more pressure's on, it seems to me, the more he reacts like that, and I feel like it rubs across onto the pitch, even only maybe a small percentage, but a small percentage makes such a difference at this level. Ideally for me, I don't appreciate. I never appreciated my manager. You don't mean to miss. You don't mean to take a bad touch. You don't need to see your manager, you know, getting more confidence down or getting the fans on your back or whatever. Your manager is so influential in those things. If he looks cool, calm, and collected, you feel like he's in control. You are in control on the pitch. I always felt when he looks out of control on the touchline. Klopp is different. Klopp does all the reactions, but it's more in a positive way. I think he's always urging his players on. He's always cheering. He looks to be always clapping them, encouraging them. I feel like Guardiola's a little bit different, especially when the pressure's on. I felt like with Tuchel as well, and the Chelsea were playing Madrid in the previous round. He was reacting negatively to some of what his players were doing, and it was just a couple of times the ball went under a player's foot. I can't remember which Chelsea player say it, and he was reacting like it was the end of the world. A player miscontrolled and went out for a throw, and it's not the end of the world. You'd like to see him being more encouraging. I said, I don't mind managers being animated, and Klopp is a perfect example of it. How he drives the team on, how he's animated, in my opinion, in the right way, rather than maybe getting across his negativity or nervousness onto a pitch.
Yeah, it's an interesting take, and obviously, when it comes to this stage of the season, you can really see managers wearing their hearts on their sleeve. You look at Liverpool. Liverpool good against Villarreal, 2-0 up. It's pretty certain to go through, you'd imagine.
Yeah, I think so. Listen, Villarreal, they were getting criticised last night for how they played, but I don't think they had any option but to play the way they played. They can't go to Anfield. How good Liverpool are at opening teams up, they can do nothing, only go there and hope. You don't like to be saying this about a team in the Champions League semi-final, but hoping to keep the score down and try get them back to their place and maybe be able to do something there. But they did fine. For their game plan was wrecked by a deflected cross that went in, and Liverpool got the momentum from that. And listen, they won again 2-0, but 2-0. I don't think Villarreal. I think that's the end of the world. 2-0 going back to their ground. I still expect Liverpool to comfortably go through. It's hard to see, when Villarreal scoring 2 goals against Liverpool, because they'll have to open up to do that, and Liverpool are just so much quality going forward. They'll expose them that way. So, yeah, it's not over, but it's massively in Liverpool's favour, and you couldn't see them not going through now to the final.
And we're chatting there about kind of managers. You then look at Man United, and obviously they've announced new manager Erik ten Hag coming in. You think that's a positive, and then something else happens. You've got players now coming out having you wonder what goes through people's heads sometimes. Like, why do you put yourself in a position? Why do you start airing your grievances? What do you make of it all? And how a manager coming in now, he's reading this from afar. He hasn't taken the position. Is it another thing on his list he has to manage? Or does that player who maybe he doesn't know kind of go, he's got to look at this individual and go, is he kind of been a bit disruptive, or what? Or like, how do you all this?
Well, it's never good, is it, to be hearing rumours coming out of a dressing room and pretty much directly coming from McTominay's mouth. It wasn't second hand either. He admitted it. It's not a great dressing room. So, new manager, fresh slate. He's meant to be a stickler for everything from timekeeping to how people appearances and how they train and everything that goes with it, which it should be. He's coming to manage Manchester United. That should be the minimum you expect. But maybe that hasn't been the case there for a few years. I don't know. But yeah, when teams aren't going well, you start to hear all these rumours from dressing rooms and unrest, and it's natural. If you're not going well, a dressing room isn't happy. You shouldn't be. You should be upset with each other, and you should be trying to sort it out. You just don't want to be hearing about it. You don't want, the press coming out and publicly saying it and openly saying it. I can, there's going to be big changes there this summer. If they can get rid of players, it's not going to be easy to get rid of some of the players. Some will naturally leave, like Pogba's out of contract, he's gone, and I think they'll be fairly thankful of that at the end of the saga of 4 years of him in there. Always seemed to be something going on with him. Be interesting to see who they sign, how they go about it. I hope they have their transfer, who decides, who makes the decisions. Every player they've seemed to have bought in the last 3 or 4 years, they've paid absolute top dollar for. And comparing them to teams around them or clubs you would compare to Manchester United. You compare Liverpool, and this is spoken about a lot recently, I suppose. You're going to compare them to the best, but the signings and the money Liverpool have paid for players compared to Manchester United and what they've paid for players. The owners get a lot of stick at Man United, but it's not for lack of spending money. It's just where it's been directed, who's been bought, whether they're getting value for money. No signings seem to work out. It's been just such a, who's on that committee, that side of things, who decides who they sign now, who, they've made a few sackings in the last few weeks. They got rid of, I think, there's some of their scouting department. who gets that position now? Who makes those decisions? Is it a transfer committee? Can they sign players where it's not in the media for 6 months? Like Sancho was going on for a year and a half. They ended up spending, I don't know, 80 million on him. Doesn't look value for money now. All these players will have a clean slate, new manager. You hope he manages to get value for money from some of them, but problem with football, results aren't going your way. Everyone looks like a bad buy. Everyone is in a lack of form, lack of confidence. It'd be interesting to see whether he's given time, can turn that around quickly, give him confidence. It's the first time a manager's come in there as well. And if you're every other manager, like, the fans wanted Solskjaer, the fans wanted Mourinho. It's even the current manager, everyone was buzzing for him 6 months ago, saying he's the man to change it around. Whereas Tag is not quite as, wasn't quite as clear cut. He's younger, more progressive.
Yeah.
It felt like Mourinho came in for a short-term solution, spend a load of money and try get some medals quickly without thinking of the long-term impact of the club. Interesting. I'm excited about it. I think it's a good appointment. I hope he's given time. I hope, actually, not that I hope, but if they're not going to qualify for the Champions League, that they'd be better off not being in that Europa Conference League or things like that. Just being able to spend time at the training ground, working on a lot of things that need to be worked on. He's going to have a new style, new shape, new system. All that stuff doesn't bed in overnight. It's going to take months and months and months of repetitive work. I hope they're not dragged all over the world for pre-season and they end up playing a load of games and not actually working on the training ground a whole lot because they're here, there and everywhere. There's lots of things that need to be done. But I think he's the manager that you could actually give time and patience to. But it's not going to happen somewhere. They're not going to be able to get rid of all the players they want to get rid of. They won't be able to get in the players they want to get in. It'll take a couple of seasons. I don't think it'll take 4 or 5 years. People are saying, it's 6 years. They throw out figures like it's 6 years till Manchester United can reach Liverpool. I wouldn't say that. I think if they do have a couple of good transfer windows and this manager is able to get his ideas across quickly, he's able to bring young players through. He's done that at Ajax now for a number of years. So Manchester United, the one thing to do is bring young players through every year. So that side of it is positive as well. So couple of transfer windows, get rid of the players that I think everyone knows the players he sort of needs to get rid of and get his own type of player in, and hopefully he'll turn it around. But victories and winning games and winning trophies change everything very quickly. Liverpool are in the position Man United were in 4 or 5 years ago. So things can change very quickly in football.
Yeah, well, look, it remains to be a really interesting summer for Man United and see what happens with players and managers. But speaking of managers, we spoke there, recently enough about the changes down in Burnley. Sean Dyche, bullet. I think it was 8 games at that time to go. It kind of looks like a masterstroke now when you look at where they are. Are they going to stay up, Burnley? Are Everton going to go down? Are Leeds safe? It still is all to play for a little bit down there.
Yeah, Leeds aren't safe. They sort of get forgotten about. They're only 3 points ahead of Burnley. Everton have a tough run in. Sean Dyche, I suppose he would say he would have got those results. I'm sure if you're talking to Sean Dyche on here, he'd say, well, I'd have got those wins. Yeah, I was pretty confident we'd have stayed up. Of course he's going to say that. But listen, if Burnley stay up, their owners will be, I suppose, vindicated. Still not nice to see Sean Dyche sacked after doing what was a really good job there for a number of years. But if they stay up in a short-term thing, it was a good decision. Again, it's who they get in and how they can build on that in the summer and how they can not be in that position next year. They haven't spent a bundle in a number of years, so in comparison to Premier League clubs and even people in and around them. Everton, if you're to pick someone right now, you'd say Everton just looks so down in the dumps. They've had a few okay results actually in recent weeks, but then Burnley go and win as well, and Leeds have picked up. But Leeds are the one. You just don't know there what way that'll go. They're not out of it. But then 1 win and they're pretty much safe now at 1 win. But it's getting that win. It's not easy to get. Villa are lucky actually. Villa are going through a bad run and they've just thankfully had that good spell earlier in the season that should keep them safe. But yeah, I don't know. Listen, you pick one out now. You'd have to pick Everton. It just doesn't seem like a team to me. There's so many. I think we spoke about this. What it's like when you're down there, big money signings, and to be all thinking, why did I sign for Everton? What am I doing here? I should be at a top club. They spent millions on me. Why are we down here? And everyone feeling sorry for themselves. It'd be real tough for Everton to switch that mentality and get them, to get there for the last few weeks.
It's interesting because it's like that new manager bounce, and maybe Burnley have just timed that spot on. Maybe the teams around them, like
Yeah,
Leeds, maybe if they held back a little bit, maybe Everton if they held and then brought, maybe they would have had that bounce. But the bounce may not last forever. But if it's timed right
yeah,
for
yeah.
Burnley, they might stay
Leeds
up.
got it. Leeds, I suppose, looking at Leeds' decision now, there's a lot of angry fans when Bielsa got sacked and still are, but they've got to bounce out of it just at the right time, because if they didn't, they're only 3 points ahead of Burnley. If they hadn't got that bounce, they'd be in deep trouble right now, and they're still, as I said, still just thereabouts. But yeah, a new manager bounce. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Burnley have definitely got it. Everton didn't.
Yeah. Right, moving on. 1-2 free bet, your chance to win €100 cash, absolutely free. All you have to do is predict the scores of 3 of this weekend's matches. Kevin, what are your 1-2 free predictions for this week? Okay, so we're 3 games we're focusing on. Leeds United versus Manchester City.
I think this will be pretty close. Leeds play Crystal Palace the weekend, and they were very defensive. And it's not easy to go to Crystal Palace and get a result. Palace have taken in some of the top teams there this season. So Leeds will do something similar against City. You don't know what City's mentality is going to be like in between the Champions League semi-final second leg. So interesting game. You know what? I'm going to go for a draw here. Open up the title race. Really, it's easy to just pick Man City, isn't it? And I pick I pick Man City every week, and it's an easy one to pick, isn't it? But for once, I'm going to go against. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for one apiece.
One apiece. Lovely. Okay. Well, let's see how that plays out. Everton at home to Chelsea.
Yeah. I've just battered Everton, haven't I? Well, not battered them, but they are where they are. But Chelsea are not in a good place either in recent weeks. Can't go for 2 draws, can I? I haven't looked in.
Recent form, Chelsea are due to lose this game.
Yeah, I know, but it's just hard. It's just hard to pick Everton to win a game. Everton at home. You know what? I'm going to go for an Everton home win. Lampard against Chelsea as well. He knows him inside out. Home game for Everton. A rousing sort of end of season, get them out of bottom 3 performance. I go for a home win. Everton 2, Chelsea 1.
2-1, lovely. Okay, and finally, West Ham at home to Arsenal.
Arsenal won last week, so they'll lose this week. I'll go for an West Ham to win 1-0.
1-0. Okay, excellent. Kevin, thanks for your time. And remember, if you are having a bet on anything this weekend, please do gamble responsibly. Visit gamblecare.ie for more information. We'll be back next week for more of the build-up brought to you by Ladbrokes. Kevin, cheers. Have a good one.
Thanks, David. You too.